Good morning. I'm Reva with Quality Sewing and Vacuum, and thank you for joining us today. We're going to have lots of fun this morning. We're going to talk about freestanding lace. So if you have any questions, please just put them in the chat box and we'll answer them as we can. So again, good morning. Now, all of our stores in Western Washington have some OESD freestanding lace designs, and I'm going to highlight some of them for you today. And then also you'll find them on our website at qualitysewing.com. So check out either place, but of course we'd love for you to come in and see us in person in one of our local stores. So the freestanding lace that I'm specifically going to talk about today has to do with Halloween and the holidays. However, there's tons of different styles of freestanding lace, and it's not just OESD that makes freestanding lace. So we're going to talk about that. So what is freestanding lace? Well, freestanding lace is, let me bring this up to you, is a design that you stitch out on wash away stabilizer, and when you wash away the stabilizer, you're left only with the thread, which creates lace. And a complete freestanding lace wouldn't have any fabric in it at all. Okay, so it's really kind of fun. So let's take a look at some examples here that we have. They're just so much fun. Now, some of these have fabric in them, which just makes them extra cute. This is the Midnight Manor, and this is just so cute. Look at it's just spooky. And when you see it from the side, it's quirky, it's crooked. It's just like a haunted house should be, right? And look at I love the little door in the back being all orange. And then, of course, it has the front porch and the stairs. Isn't that cute? Now, you can see the areas that are freestanding lace that are kind of, you can see through them. So that was just thread and wash away stabilizer. But fabric was used on some of the pieces, and the roof, can you see the roof? Can you see the sparkle in the roof? That sparkle is a new product called Luxe Sparkle Vinyl from OESD, and it's really awesome. Another thing that would be fun if you're going to do any of these freestanding holiday items is to add in the glow-in-the-dark thread. And that's really kind of cool. And you also can put in pixie lights or a battery-operated tea light in there to illuminate your structures. So that is the Midnight Manor. Then we also have these adorable ones here. This is the spiderweb pumpkins. And aren't they cute? I'll put this one down for a second. This one I think is so beautiful. Look at the stitching on that. And this is all done in the embroidery hoop. And then there's even a creepy spider on there. And you'll notice that this structure is put together with little buttons. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit of detail on how to put these together. Okay, so that's the large pumpkin. And there's 3 different varieties in the freestanding lace spiderweb pumpkin. And then this one is just so cute. Look at that. Isn't that fun? I love that one. And you're going to have lots of fun with these. Then the last one that I want to show you for Halloween is called the little lanterns, freestanding little lanterns. And these have half wash away stabilizer and half have fabric in them. So two sides have fabric and 2 sides have the wash away stabilizer. But of course you can do it any way you want to. And then you can fill it with the fun little pixie lights or whatever you want to have in there. And that just makes them really super cute. Then the last one I want to show you for today on just the buildings that are here is the freestanding lace Winter Village Police Station. Every year they bring out a new building. So if you want to have a winter village of your own, you can do that very easily. All done in the hoop, and it buttons together. So if you're so inclined, you can take them apart at the end of the holiday season and store them flat in a shirt box or whatever and have a whole village in a very light shirt box. So anyway, that's those. But let's talk about the other styles of freestanding lace. You may have a lace style for embroidery that is meant to be put onto garments or a doily or something like that, that is all thread, but it's not structural. So there's 2 different types. So we're going to kind of address both of how you would handle those. Okay, so let's start by talking about getting them in your machine. So you're going to load the designs onto your embroidery machine as you would any design. And on this particular hooping, I did put 3 of the designs in one hoop. You will want to make sure that you are aware of how much you put in a hoop, because these guys use a lot of thread and they do a lot of stitching, so it can draw in the stabilizer. So you don't necessarily want to completely jam pack your hoop, because you may end up having registration issues with that. But we'll also talk about hooping. But put in as many as you feel comfortable putting in your hoop, and then you're going to want to use what is called a wash away stabilizer. I guess I'm reaching farther than I thought I'd have to. So I used Wet and Gone. This is from Floriani, and one thing that's really nice about this wash away stabilizer is that it's extremely stable, and it kind of looks like to me, it looks like the stuff that you see underneath your couch that they put to tack up, cover up the hole from the couch, but it's not. And it's really strong. And you can tell that it's wash away if yours has, well, first of all, if you get it wet and it melts, then it's wash away. But if you're comparing it to other types of stabilizers, can you see there's little tiny holes in there, little dots? That is a sign of the wash away stabilizer. But one thing that's really cool about the stabilizer is that not only is it stable and it washes out, but it's also not harmful to septic systems or to the environment, because it's made of a natural starch. So that is kind of a nice thing there. Now, when you go to do your lace, if it's a structural piece like the ones that we have back here, you're going to want to not rinse out your stabilizer all the way. You want to leave some of it in there, so that way it has structure and strength. Okay, so but if you're doing a piece of lace that is for a garment or a doily, you want that to be soft, so you're going to want to make sure that you rinse it out completely. So it may take a couple of times of rinsing to do that. And one tip, if you have hard water, is to put some fabric softener in with your with the piece, like on the last rinsing, to have it get that will help break up the stuff from there. But you probably won't need it. Just need warm water is all you need. Okay, and then okay, so when doing lace, one layer of stabilizer really is not enough. You're going to want probably at least 2 pieces of the Wet and Gone stabilizer in them, and then make sure to just only barely rinse it out, so you have enough left in there for the structure. Okay? All right. Now, I want to talk about hooping. When you hoop, so you notice that I had my hoop here. This hoop, I have that hoop tight. I got it in there and got the stabilizer flat, and I tightened this up with a screwdriver, so it's very tight. Because if you finger tighten it, what's going to happen is it's going to be loose and it will pull out on the sides. And you don't want that to happen, right? You want to have it really secure, because it's thin stabilizer and it's a lot of stitches that's going on there. So you want to make sure it's really tight. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Another tip is, if you were one that purchased one of the new magnetic hoops for the Brother and Baby Lock machines, this is a great hoop to use. In fact, our Tacoma manager, Leanne, told me that this was a great thing to use, because she was doing a lot of lace, and it actually helped hold her stabilizer really, really well. So it has the magnets all the way around, and instead of having one big magnet to plop down on the whole thing at one time, we're going to be able to do individual magnets, which will help us make sure that everything is flat. So I'm going to just lay this right here, and I'm going to take my 2 layers of stabilizer and just place it on the edge, and I'm going to take my 1 magnet and just slip it right here. Okay? Then what I'm going to do is you want to do this on a tabletop. Don't do it on yourself, because you need to have it nice and flat and not have air in it. But then you just smooth and make sure it's tight. See how I got a bubble? That's because it's in the air. So if I put it down here and smooth it straight across, then I can put that in and it's nice and flat and tight. And then I'm going to go back to the other side and do the same thing there, and then again on the bottom, and I will do the sides as well. And you're going to see that this gives us a nice flat hoop for our stabilizer that it's going to be able to hold those stitches. So try that if you have a hard time tightening the screw up really, really tight. Try working with that, and this might work better for you. Okay? All right. So you're going to bring it into your pieces into your embroidery hoop, and it is okay to work in a small hoop. Even if you have a really ginormous hoop, it's okay to work in a smaller one like a 5x7, because then you're going to have more stability for that stabilizer. And then you're going to stitch out your pieces like I did right here. Okay? The next step we want to do is trim, because we're going to rinse out the stabilizer, but we don't need all that stabilizer because that's a lot of rinsing out, right? So go ahead and trim up your pieces, and I trimmed mine right around the piece. So the white down here is the stabilizer, and I trimmed just right around the edge there. This for me is even too much stabilizer. I like it trimmed a little bit closer because then it's going to rinse out faster. Okay? So now we're going to pretend we're at a sink. We're not at a sink, but we're going to pretend we are. So I have a little dish here and some warm water. I say know your limitations. I figured I'd spill it if it was in the dish, so I brought it over in a cup. And then you're just going to take this and you're just going to run it under the warm water for just a couple of seconds. And you're going to see, as drippy as it is, you're going to see that that's all rinsed off now. So it's really, really quick to take care of. So then what you're going to do is take a flat surface like a cookie sheet, a Teflon pan, a parchment paper, something like that, and lay your pieces out right sides down onto that cookie sheet. And then what it's going to do, that will help when it's drying to keep it from curling, because you really want them flat. Okay? All right, now, once they're dry, they may have a little bit of a bend to them or something like that, and then you're going to press them. So you want to take a pressing cloth like this one. This is really nice. I'll open it up here and show you. But you're going to place your pieces right sides down onto your pressing sheet and then give them a good press and let them cool so they're nice and flat. And this pressing sheet is from OSD, and it's designed for pressing your embroidery designs. So look at how nice and thick that is. Can you see how thick that is? It's like a chubby felt, right? But this product is awesome. So if you've ever pressed your embroidery and you've gotten little puckers or whatnot, if you press your embroidery face down on this sheet and then press on the back side, this goes underneath. It doesn't go over your embroidery, it goes underneath. You know, first put this on your ironing board, then you put your design upside down there and press from the back side. Then the embroidery goes down it sinks into this product, keeping it to have that little bit of dimension that we love about our embroidery. And then you can press the fabric. So this is a really great deal, and he's really inexpensive. Just don't think it's batting, because it's not batting. Okay, so give that a try, but that's really useful whether you're doing freestanding lace or you're doing any type of embroidery for your final pressing. Okay, all right, so now that we have our pieces, we're going to let's talk about thread. If you notice, I've got the colors on both sides. So what I used these threads here, and then I also used the coordinating colors in pre-wound bobbins. And did you know that this bobbin thread is thinner than embroidery thread? And so you can get a ton of thread on one of these bobbins. In fact, it can hold more thread on this than I could wind on my machine, because of the equipment that they use, they get a better wind on the bobbin. So this goes a long way. So it's really convenient having the different colors. Now, I don't know about you, but I like to have all the crayons in the color box. I don't want just 5. I want them all. So what I do is I'll pick up, when I go to the store, I'll go pick up 1 pack of colored bobbins, because this is going to last more than one project. So I'll pick up orange this time, blue next time, or whatever, and before long I have a whole array of colors, so I'm ready for whatever project I want to do. But I find that that's the most economical way to get all the colors, is just to pick up one every time I'm in the store. Okay, I like to do that with my colored stuff. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how to put these together. All right, so I've got a couple of things here. I'm going to use the alligator clamps and also the button clips. And the reason I'm using those is on this design, there's a little tiny button and a little tiny button loop. And to get that button through there, it needs some encouragement. And if you were to use tweezers, if you put your tweezers in that little loop, it would keep the tweezers from opening because it would be holding it shut. The alligator clamps actually have a long nose on them, and only the tip opens up. So you're able to insert this into your lace and open up, grab the button, and pull it through. Okay? So pretty easy. Now, I'm going to tell you something that they say not to do, but it works for me. But I think you have to be cautious. So what you're going to do, you're going to follow the instructions on your particular thing that you're making. If it's a structure, there's probably a base, and the base gets stitched on first, but we're going to talk about the button part. Okay? So if I go from the right side to the wrong side and just get it in far enough for that to open, grab my little button, and then give him a little pull back. I don't want to jam him, but I'm going to pull him through. Okay, so now he's buttoned. Okay, now the button clips come in really handy, because what he's going to want to do while you're working on the next one is that one's supposed to come undone. Or it's not supposed to, but it does. So I'm going to go ahead and clip that shut. Okay, then we're going to work with the next one. Now let me show you what I do sometimes that you're not supposed to do. So just take it with a grain of salt. I'm going to get myself a little bitty Q-tip here, and I dipped it in my water. And I didn't dip him very much. Okay, so I just got him a little bit damp. And if you get the button and the loop damp, they're a little bit more flexible, because you still have that stabilizer in there, so it's making it nice and stiff for you. So then what I do is I'll kind of squish him down and make him squatty. Okay, can you see how he's now smaller than that guy? It's because I squished him. Okay, so now when I go in with my alligator clamps, I can grab that little guy, and he's smaller, so I can get him through easier than I could before. Okay, all right, so now the reason why they in the instructions they tell you not to do that is because if you leave him like that, he's going to come unbuttoned because you've squished him and he's smaller. So I want to go back and make sure he's good and flat again, and bring him back to his proud size. And then I'm going to move my button clip down here to hold that down. But you see what I did? I made him squishied, and I pulled him through, and then I made him flat again. So that way when it dries, he will be nice and big and not want to go through there. And I'm going to push down on the button loop too, just to kind of make sure that's tightened up a little bit. So that's how you would put those through. Then on this last one, I'm just going to do it the normal way. And what I want to, you probably noticed me doing this, but I want to make sure that it's kind of obvious what I'm doing. When I pull it through, I'm not pulling it through like this. I'm kind of keeping my arms to my side, so that way when I pull it through, my arms aren't going to go very far, because when it goes through, it's going to go through, and I don't want to go through and throw it to the next room, or pull that button off. So, which it probably wouldn't happen. Maybe it's just what I do. But anyhow, so now I've got that one done. So we've got the entire side done. And you would repeat with your other sides. And then you have the cutest little candy corn little lantern. And the little button clips, if you can see them, they have a nice smooth round nose. So they're not going to grab onto the fabric and snag a thread, but it does have teeth, so it does hold really sturdily. So anyhow, so that's how you put them together, and it's lots of fun. And one thing that's really nice about lace is once you have the right bobbin color in there and the right top color in, you just push the button and let it go, and it's just going to run until it's done or ready to change colors. The only trick about like this one or even this one is when it goes to a different color, like, so it starts with white, then it's going to do orange and then yellow. You need to remember that when you stop and rethread with orange, you need to change the bobbin as well, because you will get some shadow through. You don't want it all white on the back. Okay, so that's pretty much freestanding lace. It's not hard to do. You can look like a pro even if it's your very first time. So if anyone has any questions, we want to encourage you to type those in. And of course, we will go back and look at the questions in the feed a couple of times. So if you're watching this on a recording, then you're going to be able to, you can still ask your questions. Okay? All right. So I think that's all that we have for you today. And I thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you next Tuesday at 10 o'clock.